All right, so you're watching this because you missed the lesson on balancing equations, or you're ahead and you wanted to see some tips, or maybe you were in the lesson, you just wanted to do a recap of it. So we'll go through 3 examples, and for every example that I give you, I'm going to show you 2 different ways. So kind of like what we did with ionic bonding, where there's a visual and then there is a more numeric way, that's what I'm going to show you here. So the first way I'm going to show you is visual. If I have magnesium, an atom of magnesium looks like this, okay? Oxygen, 2 atoms of oxygen bonded together look like this, okay? So now, when those come together, they create MgO, okay? So we have a chemical reaction here. When we're looking at chemical reactions, it's important to know that when you have a chemical reaction, your reactants, which are on your left, are not necessarily anything what's like on your right. Sorry, I keep on dropping markers. This is disastrous. Okay? So magnesium, which is that ribbon that we've seen before in class, and oxygen gas comes together to create magnesium oxide. So if you look right now, whatever you have on the left is not equal to what we have on the right. Okay? As far as atoms goes, it's the same elements, but the amount of atoms aren't the same. So what we can't change is we can't change how many atoms are in a compound, but we can change how many compounds there are of each one. So first thing, let's look at magnesium. Is magnesium balanced on both sides? Do you have 1 and 1 on both sides? Yes. If that's the case, then magnesium's balanced. And if you wanted to, you could put a 1 here and a 1 here, but we're not going to do that right now. Now, is oxygen balanced? You have 2 oxygen here, but only 1 here. Okay, so in order to balance that out, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bring another oxygen over. However, if I'm bringing an oxygen over, I'm saying I can't just bring 1 oxygen. The magnesium has to come with that oxygen because we have now 2 compounds of magnesium oxide. Okay, so now I have 2 compounds of this. My oxygen are now balanced, but what happened now is my magnesium went unbalanced. But now over on this side, magnesium does come by itself, so I'm going to bring that down. So if I count this up, I have 2 atoms of magnesium, so I'm going to put a 2 here. Okay, I have 1 compound of oxygen gas, O2. You do not have to put the 1 there. I'm just putting it right now as a placeholder. But if you don't put the 1 is implied anyway. And then I have 2 compounds of magnesium oxide. Okay, so I am balanced here. This is the visual way of showing it. All right, so now if I were to show you the checklist method, what's going to happen is I'm going to create a checklist. And on the left-hand side is going to be my reactants. On the right-hand side is going to be my products. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the elements from left to right. So magnesium and oxygen, and that's it, okay? Because there's magnesium and oxygen over there. So now the next step is counting the number of atoms. If I'm counting 1 magnesium over here, 2 oxygen over here, 1 magnesium over here, 1 oxygen over here. Just by looking at the checklist alone, you can see that we're not balanced. 1 and 1 is balanced, but 2 and 1 is not. So what will happen is we have to change oxygen somehow. Again, we can't change what's in the compound. We can just change the amount the amount of the compound that we have. So we can change the coefficient. So in order to get 2 over here to match this, I'm going to put a 2 here. And when I do that, that does change my oxygen to a 2, but it also changes my magnesium to a 2 as well. Okay, so my oxygen are now balanced, but my magnesium are not. So I have to come back over here and I have to change that to a 2. So 2 times 1 gives me 2. 2 and 2 for magnesium, 2 and 2 for oxygen. Again, I can put a 1 here. So what you can see is I have the same equation, same balanced equation. I just did it either a visual way or a math way. Okay, so a more mathematical approach. So that is your first example.